Hello everyone, and welcome to the inaugural video of the History Through Video Games series. Eagle-eyed viewers who have played this before will recognize the logo. We are starting with an old favorite of mine, and I should really emphasize old. This game is 20 years old? Or is it 21 years old now? Either way, this game might possibly be older than a good chunk of the people who will watch this video. As far as it is concerned, and some background here, Arma, or as this should more properly be called, Operation Flashpoint, is a first-person and third-person shooter made by Bohemia Interactive and Codemasters back in 2001. When we get to the actual gameplay, you will be impressed by what they managed to do in 2001, believe me. Now, also, for other eagle-eyed viewers, you'll notice the little stamp in the bottom right and the different background. This is using the FFUR 1985 mod. What this mod does, in simplest terms, is change the gameplay a little bit and add in new equipment, new vehicles, and update, to some extent, the graphics. It is still a 20-year-old game, but I like using this mod because it just brings it a little bit more up to date. Maybe, I don't know, 2005? For the actual historical value of this game, though, and the reason I chose it for the inaugural video, is the fact that Cold War Crisis, the original campaign, and Arma in general, and I'm talking Arma Cold War Assault, not Arma 2 or Arma 3 here, is set during the Cold War. The hammer and sickle on the A10 should make that pretty apparent. This is extremely relevant in our current political climate with the war in Ukraine and everything like that, because you play in the main campaign as a NATO soldier in a NATO group. Of course, this being a 20-year-old game, that means American, but the point is still there. You are playing as this NATO soldier, NATO soldiers, in more honest terms, in a fictional conflict on an equally fictional group of islands that are invaded by a Soviet armed forces attack. This attack, and the defense against it, are extremely relevant to what's going on with Russia right now. And, in that regard, is why I chose to use this game. We will be going over the course of this game, all three of the campaigns made for it. That being Cold War Crisis, the original 1985 US, NATO versus Russia, Soviet Union campaign. Following that will be the Red Hammer campaign, which was made by Codemasters itself, has nothing to do with Bohemia, which is a campaign that is from the perspective of the aforementioned Soviet invaders, though, as you will find out over the course of it, it does diverge a bit more than you would expect. The third and final campaign is the Resistance campaign, set a couple years before the other campaigns. In that one, as the title would indicate, you are a resistance soldier fighting against, you guessed it, the Russians and the Soviets again. All three of these campaigns, and the game in general itself, will allow me to talk about the Cold War, go over the militaries of the time, go over the political climate at the time, demonstrate how people thought, how people acted, how people fought, all of that fun stuff. And by letting me go over the Cold War from the perspective of NATO, of a small independent group in resistance, and of the Soviets themselves in Red Hammer, it lets me talk about the different factors going into the war, which groups thought which way. It gives a good overview of the Cold War. Plus, if you ask me, it's a fun game, and it's a nice way to look back on how video games have developed over the years. With the second video in the series, we will start Cold War Crisis, and I will begin going over, in greater detail, exactly what this campaign brings to the study of the Cold War in a historical context. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.